Hi, everybody. My name is Ruham Manzoor, and I'm the managing partner of Maces. Today, we're here with Mr. Morgan Edwards, who is one of our oldest partners and our first Welsh partner, I guess, Bangor University, Wales. We've been working with Bangor since 2008, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a long historic relationship. And Bangor offers a really beautiful combination of a nice environment, study atmosphere, scholarships, friendly people, and a great experience. Really, I mean, I've got a lot of happy students from Bangor, and for a while, one of my colleagues was a graduate from Bangor. So, how are you doing, Morgan?
Thanks, Roham. Yes, I'm really good. Thank you. Thanks for that great introduction. We've obviously had a long-standing history working with Maces in Bangladesh. It's been great working with you guys. And, as you said, 2008 was when we started. We've obviously known each other for a few years now. And long may this good partnership continue.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, with us, we're education consultants and we work with students. And for us, what's great is when a student goes somewhere and they have a great experience and they talk about it, that's what makes it all worthwhile for us. So, I have always had a really good, students come in and say, wow, I'm so glad I chose Bangor because, Bangor is not always the most obvious destination for people. I mean, that's not the first destination that comes to people's mind when they think about studying abroad or studying in the UK. So I guess those of you who are listening will be able to find out why Bangor is so special. So Morgan, how long have you been working with Bangor and why?
Yeah, so thanks, Roham. It's a good question. So I've been with the university for about 2 years now. So I joined in late October 2018, I think, well, 2019 it would have been. Sorry, it's 2 years. I've lost track of time because of everything that's been going on. But yeah, I've been with Bangor for about 2 years, and before that, I was living and working in America, South Korea, and China. And I've done a lot of traveling around the world. I've been very fortunate to do a lot of traveling. But in my heart, I always wanted to go back home. I'm from North Wales. I'm from close to where Bangor is, and I've seen some very beautiful places. I've seen beautiful places in Canada, in America, New Zealand, and of course in Bangladesh as well. But in my heart, North Wales is really one of the most beautiful just places anywhere in the world. It's such a peaceful place to live. It's got exciting things to do. It's very convenient to travel to other places in the UK. And I always knew when I was working overseas that I wanted to come back and be a part of, people's future, be a part of education, helping young people, achieve, their career ambitions. And education has always been a very important part in my own life. It's helped me on this journey that I've been on and I continue to be on. And if I can help students from South Asia, from Bangladesh, to access these kinds of opportunities, anything similar to what I've had, then that'll be really satisfying for me. I really enjoy my job. I really enjoy working with students who are ambitious, who are looking to achieve. And it's a really great thing to be a part of.
Actually, I visited Bangor back in 2000, I think 10, 11, I want to say. And, Snowdonia Mountains, right? That's near where Bangor is, about, I think half an hour or so. It was such a beautiful trip out there. I mean, beautiful mountainside and countryside and all that. So, the way we have designed this program, Morgan, and to the audience, is that we're going to have, Morgan is going to show a little bit about the university, what makes it so special, what Bangladeshi students might enjoy about that program. And then we will take it from there. We will, then ask questions. I'm sure the audience will have a lot of questions. So shall we start, Morgan?
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks very much. So I'm just going to go through this presentation fairly quickly, guys. And as Roham said, please, if you have any questions, write them away on Facebook, and we'll definitely get to those at the end. I'm going to talk for about 10 or 15 minutes, just hit the key points to give you an idea about what Bangor University is, what we offer, and how we could be a really good fit for you guys. The first thing to say is I'm very happy to share my contact details. There is my email address and my phone number, which is also my WhatsApp number. And I'm always really happy to connect with you guys via email, via WhatsApp, if you do have any questions in the future. And there's a photo of me with hair looking a little bit more normal. It's been very hot recently, so I decided to cut it all off. But there you go. That's a different story. So if I only had, maybe 5 minutes with you today, and I asked you to remember 3 things about Bangor University, these would be the things that I would ask you to remember. So the first is that we're very cost effective. Now, obviously, studying overseas for Bangladeshi students is a very expensive thing to do. So it's for many of you, you'll be motivated by cost, and you'll consider which is the most cost effective university. If that's something which is relevant to you, then Bangor could be a really good option, because we regularly voted as the cheapest place to live in the UK for university students. Our tuition fees are very competitive compared to some other of our similarly ranked universities, and we have some really good scholarships, which I'll talk about later. The second thing to note about Bangor University is that we're very competitive, both in the UK and globally, in subjects that matter. And what I mean by subjects that matter are subjects that are having a really important impact on the world that we live in now and the future that we're moving into. So, for example, the School of Psychology is doing some really good research into mental health and mental well-being. And of course, because of COVID-19, those things have become even more important than ever before. Environmental sciences, we're doing some excellent research into climate change, sustainability, and global warming. Of course, these issues are never going away. COVID-19 has taken all of the limelight, but climate change is still a huge problem. All of us are facing that, and Bangor University does great research in those areas. Computer sciences and electronic engineering, of course, every company nowadays needs people who understand technology. We're doing this meeting over our laptops, computers, and Bangor University's Computer Sciences and Electronic Engineering department is doing some excellent research into things like 5G, nanocomputing, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and a range of other things. And finally, location. So Roham has already kind of mentioned Bangor's beautiful, unique location. We're next to some of the most beautiful mountains in the UK. If you're a fan of movies, then they do lots of filming there for James Bond, 007, for example. They do some filming there previously. And it's just a really incredible place to be an international student. Here are just some additional awards which Bangor has. So our teaching quality is rated gold, and that's the highest level you can get. Not every university in the UK has gold rating for their teaching, so you can be confident that if you come to Bangor University, you'll get the highest level of teaching available to you. In 2019, we were the best university for clubs and societies, which tells you that we're a very active student community. There's lots of things for you to get involved with, lots of activities for you to try, and that's one of the most important parts of university life. For the last 4 years in a row, so 2017, 18, 19, and 20, we've been top 15 in the UK for overall student satisfaction. Now, this is a really important award because it's the students that choose this. It's not some guy in a suit sitting in an office. It's someone who's living that experience. They choose that. So the fact that Bangor's been top 15 for 4 years in a row tells you a lot about the quality of our university. In terms of our student body, we're a relatively small university of about 12, 13, 14,000 students, but we have a really global student community. Top 50 this year for our international outlook, and you can see some of the countries that are represented on our campus. So, of course, Bangladesh, France, Ghana, India, the United States, and many other countries, over 90 countries represented. So that means that you, as a student, are going to have a really global exposure. You're going to meet people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and that's a really important experience for you guys because you're going into a world which is very globalized now. You're going to need to understand people who are different to you. In terms of the subjects that we offer here at Bangor University, we offer all of the major subject areas that you would expect of any major university. So in Bangladesh, the most popular subjects are probably law, accounting, banking and finance, business and MBA, computer science, psychology, and electronic engineering. But we also have some more interesting subject areas. So, for example, Islamic banking and finance, biological sciences, forestry and land management, and social sciences as well. So there's a whole range of courses that we can offer. In terms of the specific subject rankings, this is really important for you to consider when you're deciding which university you want to go to. And you can see here all of these most popular subject areas. Bangor is very highly ranked for these specific subjects. So accounting, banking and finance were top 15 for course satisfaction. Business and MBA were 12th overall in the UK for course satisfaction. Computer sciences, top 25. Environmental sciences, 16th in the UK for our research quality. Law were 23rd, and so on. You can see here that whatever kind of subject area you choose, you're going to be studying at a university that is very highly ranked in those departments. Now, if we talk about the general entry requirements for Bangladesh, you'll find them here, and we can obviously go into individual cases later on. But generally speaking, these are the minimum requirements you will need to get direct entry into Bangor University from Bangladesh. So for our undergraduate students, you would need a 4.5 GPA or more in your high school certificate to get direct entry. If it's below 4.5, you'll need to do a foundation year. For all students in Bangladesh, we ask that you do an English language test for us, whether that be IELTS or Duolingo or any other test. We accept a really broad range of tests nowadays, so that's more convenient for you guys. In terms of postgraduate students, you're looking at a 2.5 GPA or 55% overall in your 4-year bachelor's degree. And again, you would need to provide IELTS or Duolingo or some other English language test for us. And again, we can talk about some specifics if you would like to in the Q&A session later. In terms of our tuition fees, you can see here the range of fees for if you're enrolling this September or in January 2022. So for all of our undergraduate courses, the prices range from £14,500 right up to £16,800 per year. And you need to remember, of course, that an undergraduate degree is 3 years, so you're paying those fees every year. On the right-hand side, you can see some of the most popular courses and how much they cost. So arts and humanities, that includes law, business, and computer science. For our postgraduate programs, prices range from £14,500 right up to £20,000. Now, postgraduate degrees in the UK are 1 year, so you're only paying for 1 year of study. And again, on the right-hand side, you can see some of the more popular courses and how much they cost. So MBA, computer science, law, and psychology. Of course, when you're studying overseas, your tuition fee is just one part of your overall cost. The second part is your living costs. Now, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, Bangor is one of the cheapest places to live as an international student anywhere in the UK. And on average, students from South Asia, they're spending about £7,000 to £8,000 per year for their living costs. So if you kind of remember some of the course prices on the previous slide, you're looking at roughly, depends on which course you're studying, obviously, around £22,000 to £24,000 for 1 year study altogether. But that's before we talk about scholarships. And let's do that. So obviously, scholarships are a really important part of your decision-making process when you're a student in Bangladesh. And Bangor has some really good scholarships for you guys with over £1 million of scholarships available. Now, these 4 scholarships are the ones that are most relevant to you guys in Bangladesh and any students who might be joining us from other countries in South Asia. These 4 scholarships will be the ones that will be most relevant to you. And there are essentially 2 types. So there's automatic scholarships, which are the bottom 2. And they're called automatic because all you need to do to get them is apply to the university. So you can speak to NACEs, they can apply for you, and then you will be automatically considered for those scholarships. up to £5,000 if you're a first class student, up to £3,000 if you're below first class. The top two scholarships are slightly different in how you get them. They're called application scholarships. And this means that you need to submit a separate application to your university application to get them. The headline scholarship for us is our Vice Chancellor Scholarship, the first one there, and that's 50% off your tuition fees. It's available to both undergraduate and postgraduate students, and it's only for first class candidates. So typically you need to have about 75, 80% or higher in your high school or in your previous degree. Again, just because of time, we can talk about this in more detail later, but hopefully you get the kind of basic understanding of those scholarships. You know, we've talked a lot about tuition fees, education, the boring part about university. There's a very important part, another important part about university, and that's what you do outside of your studies. And Bangor in North Wales is one of the best places to be an international student because there is something to do for everyone. There are so many exciting things for you guys to do, like this adventure ride where they strap you onto a line at the top of the mountain and they throw you off the mountain. You go about 100 miles an hour. It's a really, really cool thing to do. To give you an idea about where Bangor University is located, you can see it on the left-hand side of the map there in North Wales. And to give you a bit of a better idea about how well connected we are to the rest of the UK, London is about 3.5 hours away on the train. It's a direct train. You don't need to change. Manchester is about 2 hours away on the train. Again, it's direct. You don't need to change. And to put that into perspective, I was in Dhaka last March in 2020, and I drove from Dhanmondi to Gulshan, and that took me 2 hours in a car, okay, just sitting in traffic. So that should give you an idea about how the time frame to travel across. Again, these are just some pictures of the local area in Bangor. So you can see we've got beautiful golden beaches, blue skies, blue seas. Picture below is a castle, which is very close to Bangor University. North Wales has a really unique history and culture with lots of castles for you guys to go and see in your free time. So I like to say that there's something for everyone. For many of you guys, this will be the first time that you've ever left Bangladesh or ever left your home country, and that's quite a scary thing to do, the first time you've been away from your families. So it's important for me to emphasize to you guys that there is a really strong student support network in Bangor that can help you with adjusting to life in the UK, helping with things like employment, immigration, visas and healthcare, and anything else that you might need help with. It's also important to say that we have some really good student societies in Bangor. So the Bangladeshi Student Society is a really great one with some fantastic current students who can help you with answers to your questions before you arrive, whilst you're here and after. So you're going to be brought into that student community straight away and need to feel at home. Just because I'm conscious of time, we'll wrap things up and we can open the question and answer session. These are some of the companies where Bangor graduates have gone on to join in the past, and you can see that these are some of the biggest companies in the world. These companies, their application process is really, really high. It's really difficult to get into these companies. So the fact that Bangor's graduates have gone on to join some of the best companies in the world tells you that Bangor's graduates are amongst the best in the world. And if you do decide to come and study with us, you could be joining potentially some of these companies in the future. So that's the end of the presentation, about 15 minutes, I think, bang on. So thank you very much for your time, guys. There again are my contact details, so I'm happy for you to email or message me in the future. But we're going to have a question and answer session now, and I'm really happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Thank you so much, Morgan. I just, what I like to do is always sort of summarize it from a student's perspective. So what I found is that, first of all, you have some of the best rankings for specific subjects. Specifically, what I liked is in most of the subjects, in terms of student satisfaction, you were ranked amongst the top 15 or top 20 in most of the courses, including psychology, Islamic banking, banking in general, banking and finance, accounting and finance, and computer science and things like that. So that was very, very important. So in key subjects, you had really high satisfaction rankings. Now, those of you who don't know, obviously, our rankings have a lot to do with research, quality, and what universities are doing, and Bangor is doing a great job there. But at the end of the day, when a student is paying money, how satisfied they are with that experience is very, very important. And what we've seen is that a lot of times they go to some big universities and they don't get the atmosphere or the, they're not taken care of the way a smaller institution can do. And I think that's where it stands out. The other thing really interesting for students from Bangladesh specifically is that, for HSC students, you don't need to do a foundation as long as you have a GPA of 4.5 or higher, so you can go in directly. The IELTS requirement for master's programs is 6, and this is something unique because a lot of universities require 6.5 or 7. So with a 6, you can get into the master's program. And the other great thing is the huge number of scholarships. So if you can get into Bangor, then you are guaranteed to have between 3,000 to 5,000 pound scholarship. So which means that's a really big, a good deal, I guess. The other thing is, of course, based on your level of work experience, you can get a 4,000 pound scholarship if you have experience of 2 years or more as a manager. Up to like 50% of tuition fees. And obviously, these are for really high achieving students. So you have to be a first-class student. Now, of course, I'll ask Morgan, what do you mean by first class? Like if a student is from Bangladesh, in terms of GPA, what is the equivalent? I guess, for 75 to 80%, you mean GPA of 3 and above, or
yeah, it's typically about 3.4, I think, translates to, because there's lots of different universities in Bangladesh and their rankings are slightly different and the way they score things. So it kind of depends on where they're from, and the same true for high schools. So it's typically about 3.4 GPA we're looking at to be equivalent to a first.
That's great. So that is a very unique thing because quite a few generous scholarships that Bangor has to offer international students from Bangladesh. That really makes it one of the most cost-effective places to get a UK degree, and from one with such high rankings. The other thing is, in terms of living expense, you're really, really going to save a lot of money there. It is one of the cheapest places in UK to live. I shouldn't say cheapest, I guess. I should say one of the most cost-effective.
Yeah.
So we've got a few questions here. So Shadab is asking 2 quick questions. Is the university accommodation open? How does it work given the ongoing pandemic? Could you talk about IELTS requirement, and also if you could talk about scholarship opportunities? Oh, wow. I think that covers all the other questions as well.
Yeah, no worries. He may be tuned in a little bit late, but no worries, Shadab. Thanks very much for joining today. To your first point, is the university accommodation open? Yes, 100%. It's definitely open. It's been open all throughout COVID-19. We had students come in September 2020. We had students come in January 2021. They've been living on campus. They have been somewhat kind of in their rooms because classes have been a mix of online and face-to-face. But yes, they have been here, and it's generally been a very safe place for them to be. I'm not going to lie, and I can't tell you that there hasn't been any COVID on campus, but the numbers have been very, very low. We're talking single figures, just a couple of students. So it has been safe. There's deep cleaning of all the facilities in anticipation of you guys coming. So if we're looking at September 2021, my expectation is the situation with COVID is going to continue to improve, and it will continue to be a safe place for you to live and for you to be. So yes, it's open. We're welcoming students. To your second question, could you talk about IELTS requirements? As Rohan kind of pointed out, we're looking at IELTS level 6.0 with nothing below 5.5. That's for the majority of our courses. There might be one or two that are slightly higher, so say 6.5 with nothing below 6, but therefore only a few number of courses, a few specific courses. In terms of other tests that are available, there's Duolingo, which has become a very popular test now throughout COVID, because you can do it in your own home. You can do it in about an hour. It's very convenient for you guys to do. It's much cheaper than IELTS, so it's about $49 US. So, you know, it's much more convenient, and you can do that for us. We can accept that for September and beyond, and it's also okay for your visa. Don't worry about that. And then the final part of your question is you could talk about scholarship opportunities. So yes, the main scholarships that are open to all international students are up to £5,000. Now, ultimately, it depends on your GPA. If you're 3.4 and above, you're probably going to get the full £5,000. If you're a little bit below that, then it kind of starts to decrease as your score decreases. If you are a first-class student, so 3.4 or above, then you can apply for our Vice Chancellor Scholarship, which will be 50% off your tuition fees. Now, I don't know if you're an undergraduate student or a postgraduate student, but of course, if you're a postgraduate student, it's a one-year study, so it just cuts it in half, and it's a really good way to save a lot of money. So hopefully that answers your questions.
That's really good, because the other thing is that you know, how does it you know, given the the IELTS, I guess, you know, you've already covered. Now, do you have your own internal English language test that students can give, or no?
Yes, we do have our own internal language test, but unfortunately, because of COVID, we're not able to run it at the moment. We don't have the capabilities to deliver it online. And in a way, it didn't make sense for us to make it available online, because all of these other tests came out of the blue, and they're available online. So we'd be competing with these guys.
Right.
So Duolingo, as I said, and IELTS Indicator. So IELTS is available online. There's lots of online tests out there. Oxford International also do an online test as well. So plenty of tests for you guys to choose from.
So the next question is, hi Morgan, never thought of moving to Wales. What is it like for students? What is the weather like over there?
Yeah, great question. I'm from Wales. I was born in North Wales. I'm passionate about being Welsh. I'm very proud to be Wales. What's it like for a student, or what's it like to be in Wales? It's a very good question. You know, the UK is made up of 4 different countries: Wales, England, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. There's a distinct cultural difference between those 4 countries. And coming to Wales, you get a very different feeling about living in England or living in Scotland and living in Northern Ireland. But what is it that makes North Wales or Wales unique? Well, it's our people. So we have our own distinct language, a distinct culture. Don't worry, you don't need to learn Welsh. It's fine. We do speak English, so you don't need to worry about that. One of the positive things I think people say, international students say, about coming to Bangor is they feel like they're part of the community. They feel very welcome. As Roham kind of mentioned before, he's traveled to Bangor, and we're very close to nature. So we have a beautiful national park, Snowdonia National Park, with one of the tallest mountains in the UK. We're also next to the coastline, so it's quite difficult to have both of those things together in one place. And I would say because of COVID, more and more students are looking at places like Bangor. They're not looking at the big cities like London, Birmingham, Manchester. They want somewhere a little bit quieter. There's more space. There's more things to do. And that's what makes Bangor unique. In terms of the weather, now this is a tricky one. So, you know, you're coming from Bangladesh, you're coming from Dhaka, which is a very hot country. It's very beautiful. It's very sunny a lot of the time. I'm not going to tell you that it's as hot as Bangladesh for sure. But, you know, we're moving into summer now. We're looking in like kind of the low 20s. But that being said, it can get windy. It can rain an awful lot in Wales. So bring a jacket. But, you know, we have really nice summers. We have beautiful summers. And I'm pretty confident that we'll be having another beautiful summer again.
Well, I mean, it's weather is very, very. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, if you're going to the UK, I mean, rain is gonna be your friend. For example, if you go to Canada, you can't complain about the cold. It's gonna be cold.
Yeah.
And so, if you go to UK, there's gonna be some rain. But that's fine. At least it's not. Believe me, I live half of my time in Toronto, and it gets really, really cold back there. Every day cleaning my car is really a challenge. So the next question, is there any Bangladeshi community in Bangor? So yeah, that's a good one.
Thanks for the question, Shema. Yes, we definitely have a Bangladeshi community in Bangor. As I said, even though we're a relatively small international or a small university, we still have some really good and active student bodies. The Bangladeshi one is no exception to that. They're a fantastic bunch of students who help people who are interested in studying in Bangor. They help current students in Bangor, and they help people after. Bangor is actually very well known in the UK, not just internationally, but in the UK as being a great university to have a student society, it's a student community. So I know quite a few of the students in that society, in that community. They're very, very helpful, very, very nice people. They've helped other Bangladeshi students settle in really well. But it's important for me to mention there are lots of other societies as well. Different countries, different activities, sports, arts, things for you to get involved with. So, obviously it's been a little bit of a challenge to run these communities with COVID because you can't meet people, but things are starting to happen again now. People are starting to be able to go outside and meet each other. And I'm very confident that by September, there's going to be a lot more happening. Everyone has kind of built up this, energy inside. They want to hang out, they want to do things, but they haven't been able to do it. So in September, or whenever they're allowed to kind of do anything, there's going to be a huge explosion of activity, and it's going to be a really exciting time to be.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be very interesting because I think vaccine rollout has been really excellent in UK. So they've really done a job with that. I think Bangladesh has done a great job with vaccine as well. I think by the time September comes, a lot of our population will have that. And I think that's when really things are going to open up. And I think people are really waiting to make up for like whatever they've, for not taken part of. The last question is from Anindita, and she said, do you offer 2-year masters? Because a lot of universities offer those industrial experience masters, I guess. And she's completed her bachelor's from Dhaka University with 3.2. How much scholarship can I expect?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So there are a couple of courses. There are a few very specific courses that we have at Bangor that offer 2-year masters. The one that is jumping to my mind immediately is the Msc Counselling Course. So it's essentially a psychology course. And that includes, as Rohan is saying, kind of like an industrial experience as part of the program. That's the reason why it's 2 years in length. And as I say, there are 1 or 2 other courses that are 2 years at master level. But generally speaking, no, they're mainly 1-year courses. But that being said, do remember, so all you guys who are watching today, if you're coming to study in the UK, you will have access to the 2-year post-study work visa. So basically what you will do is you'll do 1-year study, and then after you graduate, you go over to your work visa, and you can stay in the UK. You don't have to go back to Bangladesh. You can stay in the UK looking for work, starting work, and carrying on with your employment. So whilst we don't have many 2-year master's programs, do remember you're going to get the 2-year post-study work visa. And in a way, that's almost better because it means you can focus on your studies for 1 year and give it everything you got, get the best grades you can get, and then you can go into the workforce and have your high grades and potentially get a better job with a better salary.
That's awesome. So, that brings us to the end of all the questions. Morgan, thank you so much for being with us and talking to our students. What happens is, of course, this stays there in perpetuity and people come back to it. So any last words for people who want to study abroad, or is considering Bangor or, not?
Yeah, so one thing I would say is obviously the last 12 months have been a really, really difficult time to be an international student. I'm sure many of you guys, you've put your plans on hold because you're waiting to see what's happening with COVID-19, or maybe your families have just decided it's just not worth it traveling right now. The situation with COVID is definitely improving, but the reality is it's probably going to be here for a number of years still. We're going to have to learn to live with it, right? Vaccination numbers are increasing in the UK rapidly. They're improving in Bangladesh and many other countries around the world. Companies are trying to make it safe to fly. So you're going to be, in a much safer environment when you're traveling to and from these countries to do international study. Also, universities have learned about this. It's been a really important learning exercise for universities, how we care for students who are not in the country. So maybe they're in Bangladesh, they want to begin their studies online and then travel at a later date. Those facilities are going to be in place for you guys. In terms of, why Bangor University? So again, I would just leave you with kind of 3 key points about this. Overall cost, let's be clear about that. If cost is a significant factor for you, then, Bangor is somewhere you should definitely consider, because good scholarships, lower tuition fees, and low cost of living, all of those things together mean you get quality education for less. And as Roham kind of mentioned earlier in the talk, we have some really good rankings to go with that as well. So it's not like you're paying less to get lower quality. You're paying less, but you're still getting very high quality here in Bangor University. The second thing, which is kind of linked, is we're very strong in a couple of key subject areas: psychology, law, MBA, computer sciences, environmental sciences. These areas we're very good in. So if they're subjects that you're interested in, definitely consider us. Then the final thing I would say to you guys is location. COVID-19 again has made people think again about where they want to be spending their time. Do you really want to be a city with millions and millions of people, high-rise building, grey, busy roads, busy subway, rubbing shoulders with everybody? Do you want that? Or would you prefer to be in an environment where you've got your free space? You can walk up mountains, you can go to the beach, you can go to the forest, you can go swimming in the lakes. This is what Bangor University is selling to you guys. And that's the kind of place that I think you would want to be. I know I personally would prefer to be there, but I'm a little bit biased. There you go.
Thank you so much, Morgan. So you've heard from Morgan himself. If you're considering studying in the UK or abroad, consider Bangor. In order to apply, you can get in touch with us. We've been working with Bangor University for the last more than 10 years, actually, 12 years for now. And, you can get in touch with us on Facebook. You can message us. You can email us at mail@macesbd.com. And you can also call us at 017-5566-0012. We look forward to hearing from you soon. And, hopefully you will see our next show, which is coming up on the 5th. Thank you once again. Thank you, Morgan. And stay safe and stay blessed.